Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. We are finally back to racing. This is my first race of 2023. This is stage 2 of Tucson Bicycle Classic in Arizona that happened this past weekend. And as you can see, it's a huge field. It was a combined Cat 2-3 race, which meant there was like 110 riders. So you can kind of see really far up there is the front of the race, and I'm probably back in like, I don't know, 50th, 60th wheel. So, which made for a quite interesting race. Before this, stage 1 that happened the day before, I did really well for myself. I think I was like 56 out of 110 for the time trial, but I did really good power for myself, doing 331 watts for just under 10 minutes, 9.5 minutes. So I was pretty happy with that. I'm not a time trialer, so, you know, to be right in the middle of the field, especially in a Cat 2-3 field, I was pretty satisfied with that. So going into this race, I was just really about individual results. You know, I obviously wasn't going to really be able to claw back enough time for the GC. So that was kind of my focus. But let's look at some race stats real quick. Duration of the race was 2 hours and 17 minutes. Distance was 61.6 miles. Average speed was 26.9 miles per hour. Normalized power was 257 and average power was 208. And right now we just passed 1 to go. So, you know, we have just about 20 miles left in the race. And as you can see, I'm still really far back here. But you know, the first 2 laps, I was really paying a lot of attention of where were the best places to move up, what side of the road I needed to be on. So as you can see here, I'm starting to, you know, claw back a few positions. We still have plenty of time left in the race, but one of the big issues is the fact that the center line rule in effect up into 200 meters to go, which wasn't going to be very helpful. So when you have 110 people on the road fighting for the same spot, it can get a little bit difficult to move up. So right now we're about to turn onto kind of the, I guess, back side of the course, and this is where it was super rolly, and a lot of little, you know, power climbs where it was just like you got to be on it for like 30 seconds to a minute, and yeah, I mean, it was really nice roads, which was nice. So it wasn't a bunch of potholes. So like this is a good example of one of the climbs that, I say climbs, but really more of a roller where, you know, you would have to spike up a decent amount of watts to, you know, maintain position. It's interesting looking back at the power because, you know, obviously wasn't really looking at my power meter during the race, but yeah, it was pretty, you know, punchy. You know, we would, you know, these would get anywhere from, you know, 4 to 6%, I guess, briefly. And so, you know, you can see doing a lot in the 400s, and then you'd kind of back down and so forth and so on. So it really made it a very spiky race. But after this kind of section, whenever you'd get onto the downhills, you would be able to rest up pretty good. So as long as you kind of just stayed in the pack, you were going to be fine. And none of these ended up being too hard as far as pushing the pace on the front because, you know, since they are short climbs, you are still getting a good draft. I mean, we're going 23 miles per hour here still. Here was one of the steeper ones. This one actually gets up to about 7%. But, you know, again, you know, you get up to like 600 or 700 watts, and then, you know, pretty soon you're at the top and you get to just kind of roll off and relax and enjoy the draft of 60 people or whatever that's in front of me right now. It was a really cool course. You know, I like how it was very flowy, you know, and going up and down and everything like that. So it definitely made it a lot more interesting than some of the other road races that we end up doing. And here's one of the really awesome downhill sections. You're able to get up to some pretty good speed here. Kind of, I think we hit like kind of mid to low 40s, which is, for me, pretty fun. So, yeah, I mean, 43 miles per hour, 70K, 45, all right. Maybe, all right, maybe we almost get to 50. We're at 48 miles per hour here, so, but yeah, I mean, definitely, like to get up to speed, so, I enjoyed these sections. It was a nice time to rest. You can see my heart rate's down to like in the 130s, which is nice, so. And a lot of times too, during these downhill sections where the speeds are higher, the field is going to get strung out, and when that happens, it also opens up the opportunity to move up, because things are going to naturally string out a little bit, because when people are going faster, they don't want to be quite as near each other. But if you take advantage of that and move into the open spaces that are there, it's really going to help. And, I see this left line opening up, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to move up here. Now I'm probably top 30. So just over the last few miles, I've probably moved up 30 spots. So even though the race felt very congested, there was definitely times where you could easily move up. And this is kind of more of like a tailwind section anyway. And you have the high speeds and everything like that. We're now 12 miles to go, and this is another example of, obviously the big sprint out of the turn, but when the speeds get higher, there's places to move up, and you can see the field's getting very strung out here. We're at 36, 37 miles per hour through here, and I'm just kind of going to go up this right side, following this other rider. Plenty of space here. And, even if I'm eating a little bit of wind, it's not a big concern. I'm getting like half a draft off the guy in front, which is kind of maximized once you're at these higher speeds. And, some people come up on side of me, I kind of get blocked in here a little bit. So I'm going to have to, stick in this position. Now things are getting really strung out. You can see we're single file here. And this would happen a few times through these downhill sections, and someone would be trying to attack off the front. And I definitely didn't want to get caught in a split. You never know if, whether there's a crash behind you or anything like that, or just someone dropping the wheel. You can see this guy going back real fast. I think he probably was pulling on the front and then falling back, but either way, I mean, we're, again, still in the 40 miles per hour down this back stretch. We now have about 20 minutes left in the race, and this section was interesting because I knew it was, kind of a cross headwind section, and you can see I'm moving up, and the reason for that is not only do I want to get near the front, but I also want to be in good position in case there's any attacks that go late. Like I said previously, I'm not a breakaway rider, but I will try and get in a breakaway if I think it's the winning move. And you can see there's an attack there that goes up on the left side, and people are accelerating up over 600 watts in the draft here, getting up to speed. And yeah, you can see they're starting to make a good gap. Still there's plenty of teams that need to work to bring this back, so I'm not really looking to do any work on the front here, but I kind of find myself near the front. So I end up slotting in here. I'm like, you know what, I've kind of been resting for the most part most of this race, so I'm going to stick in the draft here, keep things going fast so these people can't get further up the road. And if I have to take a pull, I'll take a pull, but it won't be a long one. So, and you can see this, I believe it's Fort Lewis College who's on the front, because they're not in the break. So, they're working hard to bring it back, and this guy rotates through. I'm like, I don't want to be on the front, but I'm not just gonna, pull up there. So I do a slight pull and move over and, let some more guys shuffle through. And as soon as we bring them back, you can see an attack going up on the right side. That's I think, Project 74 rider, another guy, and then Alto Velo sees this and he sprints ahead to get into that group. And that other guy, I don't think, fully committed, so ends up falling back to us. And I'm kind of, second wheel here and probably could have gone around here on the right side, but I just wasn't too confident in that attack working, but of course, as racing goes, it does. It ends up staying away. 3 guys end up staying off the front, and so this is now turning into a race for 4th place. We are now 3.5 miles to go and the brake is gone. And there was a couple of teams trying to organize a little bit on the front and to bring things back, but nothing ended up working. So it's still a race for 4th place. And my strategy for this race was I'd rather be too far forward than too far back. I was I guess still having PTSD about the center line rule from past races where I would have the legs and feel great and couldn't sprint because there was nowhere to sprint. So so that was kind of my mindset, and this is also the biggest field by far that I've ever raced in. I think previously I've probably raced in a field of 60, so this is almost twice that size. So it's a little bit of a learning experience. And then on top of that, we're racing against the Cat 2s. I'm just a Cat 3 rider, so so that was kind of my mindset going in. And the guy here on my right, he is in the leader's jersey, so I feel like I'm in good position being behind him. He's obviously a strong rider, so I'm feeling pretty good. I'm about 8th wheel or something like that. But this is a long drag to the finish. We're only 3 miles to go, but into a brutal headwind. Starting the race, it really wasn't even that windy, and then the wind really picked up, of course, and this is going to make things interesting. We now have 1K to go, and it's funny, there's people saying like, oh, this finish was so slow, and it's like, well, its wind has been brutal. We're only going 17 miles per hour, but it's, on a, gradient, and the wind was just crazy. For the last 20 minutes of this race, which, I was near the front but not on the front, I normalized 311 watts, which is a lot, at least for me. And so, yeah, right now I'm a little bit further forward and have done a little bit more work than I would have wanted to do. But again, I was just like, I don't want to be blocked in. I'm just going to, try my luck on the front and not be frustrated and disappointed that I was blocked in by someone or something. But now the speed is starting to get further up. We're now into the mid 20 miles per hour here, and second wheel is not where you want to be with 500 meters to go. So I'm just trying to ride this guy's wheel as much as possible. But this is when, the bigger teams and everyone who's been in a little bit better position start coming around. And now I'm really not in a good spot, but I'm going to still try and put on some power, try and slot in somewhere and get up to speed of the people that were coming around me and see if I can, make something happen in the sprint. And there's also this crazy car on the right side, which I'm like, hopefully I don't die sprinting here. But as you can see with my power, I just didn't have anything in my legs. I used way too much energy to just stay in the position that I wanted to be in. And then ended up not having anything for the actual sprint. So it is what it is. I finished 18th out of 110 or however many people we were racing against. So I was pretty satisfied with how the race turned out, all things considered. But next, I'm going to be having stage 3 of this race, which was the final stage, and I'll be releasing that next week. So definitely subscribe if you want to see more of these, and I'll catch you on the next one.